So what are those ways to understanding human happiness and well-being, how we suffer in this life, right? Let's take a look. There are simple ways to make almost any part of our life better. Now, once this is established, you can intelligently direct it to certain areas of your life for self-improvement. So let's talk a little bit about that one key and then what areas of life we can direct it towards. So it's simple. Self-effort. What is gained in your life is gained through self-effort. Great people have achieved greatness through their effort, through their self-effort. Some people believe in fate or this attitude where it's all destined. That is fiction. Even if it were true, it's not the best way to live in your life, as if everything is predetermined. Empower yourself through your choices. So that high self-effort is when your mental, verbal, physical actions are in line with the highest truths, right? But unfortunately, many people don't know where to put their self-effort. So there's self-effort from the past and from the present. But the more powerful result is from now. Self-effort now is much more fruitful than living on the rewards of the past, right? But some self-effort is guided by delusion. So by overcoming that ego or limited self, you can get better results in your life through directing your self-effort in areas that are going to benefit you. So when you're experiencing a block between you and whatever result or end or action or fruit or karma that happens in your life, you want to examine if there's an internal situation or delusion. And through that introspection, you can correct it. So once we understand that simple basic premise, we understand that this is a simple way to make our life better. We can take care of future needs. We can uncover the hidden truths for increasing our emotional well-being and creating stability. Simple things like building relationships and having people to count on and trust in times of need. Sometimes people even need someone to vent to when they face challenges, but they don't have those relationships. And it's not just relationships that are important, but there's many areas to direct self-effort to make all aspects of your life better. So what are those ways that are central to understanding human happiness and well-being, how we suffer in this life, right? Let's take a look. So let's explore a few of the main important topics. Be honest, at least with yourself, so you can bring positive transformation. Number 1, money, finances. It makes the world go round. If security is not taken care of, you can't even begin to have the conversation of self-actualization, understanding of the world. So just ask yourself, do you work in a field that you love and feel that you're contributing to the highest, to humanity? Now, your worldly duty is your worldly duty, but it should contribute in an important way to the whole. And it doesn't really matter externally as long as your attitude is correct, as long as your heart is in it. And that's for you, because if your heart's not in what you're doing, you're losing your heart. And that's this delusion that we were talking about earlier. You're kind of trading coal for diamonds. You're losing your realness, your humanness, your true spark, your inner self, for something that you think is going to lift you up. So not all of us are happy with what we do, and you should have a plan there, for an intelligent plan. That's what I'm talking about. But even if you're bounded by external conditions, which some of us are, you can't just change. You have responsibilities, you have this, you can't just quit your job, whatever. Then it's about shifting your internal focus to more of a devotional attitude, which allows you to stay fixed in peace and fulfillment and contentment. And you don't lose yourself, which is, of course, another conversation. But they're important questions because you will reveal the answer to yourself. You'll know internally what is right and what is wrong for you. No one externally can even tell you what's right. Some people are more clear-minded than other people, so they can see what's going on, but no one has a better perspective on you than you. So you'll know internally what is right for you and have the courage to take that choice. Another question with money is, do you know how to save and invest your money, or do you just spend it as quickly as you get it? These are areas to put in self-effort, because you realize that weight and authority is important. Do you wonder where your money went, or do you tell your money where to go? Do you have a long-term plan for finances? Are you using the power of compound interest to your advantage, or are you on the wrong side of debt? Is it working against you? And that's many people's story, because we live in a debt economy. The world moves forward on debt. It's actually a good thing in terms of finances. Spending is how we grow, okay? That's great for the economy, but it's not necessarily great for the individual, right? It's not good to be in debt, but it's great for the overall growth of everyone, and eventually we're all lifted up through a spending economy. But my point is that it's still a responsibility, an area where you can apply self-effort. You read about it, you think about it, you ask yourself questions, you're willing to go there, you don't shy away from truth, and you just work towards it. It's a very simple idea that through working on it, you make yourself better in these areas of life. And that's why these are important questions to ask. Another important question for money and finances: many poor people in the West specifically live beyond their means. They just spend too much money for things that don't really matter. Specifically cars and homes and things like that, and just frivolous purchases. But it's usually in the driveway. They've overspent on cars. That's a big one. And you're going to have to ask that for yourself. Are you paying all your money on a car, a home, and living expenses with nothing left for yourself? Now, these are just some ideas, but I'm guiding yourself to ask these important questions so you don't put off these important responsibilities, right? It is important. It's important for your livelihood. You have to do your worldly duty to the best of your ability. Some people think that a yogi is this detached person who lives up in a cave or something like that. But that's not true. It's a worldly person who fully attends to their responsibility, but knows right from wrong, real from unreal. So we walk that path together. Number 2, health, the body, very important. Ask yourself, are you a slave to your tongue? Do you follow it endlessly? Do you feel stuck? I felt that way. I felt stuck with food, like I just can't stop myself from eating certain things. Almost feels like food addiction. You can hide it. You can go through this yo-yo where you indulge and then feel guilty and then overeat and then feel sick and just wake up to do it all again. It's this and you feel not so great because it influences your mood. So it's just important to ask, are you a slave to your tongue? And through asking these questions, what we're doing, again, it's not about blame, it's not about judgment, it's not about punishment. It's not about repression, okay? We're just identifying where true happiness is and making steps wherever we're at to go towards that. That's why those tough questions can be so helpful, because maybe you want it to be a certain way, a different way. And you got to find out what works for you. Personally, for me, alternate day fasting works really well. If I get in a limited space with food, I'm overindulging. I find that just fasting one day resets it. And it works for me. You will find what works for you. For some people, it is a keto diet. It's really good. But ultimately, it's just taking small steps forward and balance. And it's this difficult balance of acceptance, but not complacency, right? Not too hard, not too soft. But if you just put effort in this direction, you educate yourself, you be honest, you put effort in, you'll lift yourself up. There's nothing that can limit you. So health and body. What do we mean by are you a slave to your tongue? Is your relationship with food healthy and sustainable? Do you eat overcooked, processed, dead food lacking nutritional value? That's one of the big traps there, is that we eat the wrong foods, so we don't get any nutrition, so we're hungry, so we eat more. And if we eat balanced foods, then we're not as hungry. We actually don't need to eat nearly as much. But if we're eating the wrong foods, then we're stuffed but starving, right? Always hungry. It's a very dangerous cycle, and no one really enjoys it, even if you feel it's like one of life's pleasures. It's sweet at the beginning, yes, so you get this sensual pleasure, but in the end, it's like poison. So you're going to have to ask yourself those questions and see if it's true for you, but it's true for me. Health and body. Do you get the proper amount of exercise? Sometimes it's just simple. Just go for a walk. It's good. It makes you feel good. And of course, you can try mind and body focused movement like yoga, because yoga is very intelligently designed. Maybe not so much what we have in the West. I mean, it's good, but it's very intelligently designed to support balance in all aspects of life. It's cohesive. It's made to bring balance in your body, and that's what we want. We want actual good things. We want actual happiness. But this world is complicated. It's difficult. We get stuck in routines, and we all can have compassion for that. We've all experienced those limits. So again, I'm not about repression. I'm not about being sternly judgmental or coarse with ourselves. I'm talking about being honest, identifying where we're at, not just sweeping those things under the rug. These are important areas of life that you can use self-effort to lift yourself up and over. Number 3, relationships. Relationships are extremely important in this life. You're in a network of people. Appreciate that. Appreciate the people that you have. They have support for you. And ask yourself, are you caring? Are you positive? Are you cheerful? Do you want to be? Because nothing limits you. The past doesn't limit you. You can be anything you want just by working on it. Your personality's flexible in that sense. You can choose to refine yourself. You can choose to let go of any attitudes. It takes work. It might take a little bit of time, but you can surely grow, right? Anything can be done. Any skill can be learned. And it just takes discipline and self-effort. A little bit. Are you hypersensitive, rationalizing, blaming, and judging? Now, you wouldn't want someone to treat you like that. So why do we treat others like that? I know that no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. Nothing we do is perfect. That's part of this world, is accepting the imperfection of things, right? But we get into really aggressive, sternly judgmental places with other people. And even when we want to connect, even when we want to have good relationships, it self-sabotages. And a big part of that is hypersensitivity. A big part of that is rationalizing, blaming, and judging. Well, why do we do that? Because underneath people's anger is pain. When you see other people, you can know that they're full of pain, because we've all had so many experiences in this life, some good, some bad. And with people, it's important to have this acceptance, because they will judge you, they will blame you, they will attack you in a lot of ways. It's the way we've learned to communicate, right? Through pressure and punishment. However, we don't want to just look at the surface. We want to look underneath the surface. And usually what's being expressed there is pain. And if we can connect with that, we can connect with their needs, what they're really trying to say. And if we can focus on what they're really trying to communicate, what their needs really are, we don't get caught up in maybe just the surface blaming and judging and the pressure and the punishment. We can see that they're expressing a need, and they're a human, and they need support. And we can have compassion for it. And through that, we can rise above the situation and just give them what they need. And that's beneficial for you, because the people in your life are important. They're part of your network. They're part of your support group. They deserve support. They're there to support you, right? And if you have that attitude, your influence will grow. You'll have more people. You'll have more supportive people that actually care and want to lift you up, because you're a person who cares and want to lift people up. So big ideas, I know, but just be honest and realize again, self-effort. What is gained through self-effort. And these are just areas of life that you can put your self-effort. A big one with relationships is accepting full responsibility, because most people just blame others. What you feel and what you think is your responsibility. But what I see in relationships sometimes is it's too hard. It's hard to be honest. It's hard to even deal with what we feel sometimes. So it's almost as codependent as like, okay, I'll deal with your emotions and you deal with mine in this weird way. Now, it's not everyone, but it's a dynamic I've seen. And it's much more beneficial to accept responsibility. Just, I think and feel this. And when we have clouded emotions, anger, jealousy, vanity, pride, conceit, stern judgmental, this type of stuff, we're kind of blinded by that. So we're not even really living in truth. We're more in our perspective, which is why we need to grow, because we really can't even connect. So relationships are more than just relationships with other people. It's relationship with yourself. And in that way, we always talk about overcoming the limited internal states and tapping into our truest self that's beyond all the conditioning, that's beyond the domestication, that's beyond all the social norms and the pain and the blame. Peeling back those layers so we can be an authentic, real person. And mainly for me, that is the ideas of unconditional love, continuous encouragement, reinforcement, patience, forgiveness, generosity, warmth, and attentiveness. Now, I fall short of that. You likely do at times as well, because no one is perfect, but it's okay. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Those are the attitudes we know are maybe hard at the beginning, but in the end, they're good. Anger is very easy in the beginning, and it can be very satisfying because you feel I won that argument or whatever. There's this momentary sensual gratification attached to it. And that's the lust behind it. That's the prison of it. But in the end, it's bad. It ruins the relationship. You feel guilty. It's like, and you have to lie to yourself to not feel guilty. There's a whole great deal, many things why that is just an unsuccessful way of living. So we go more into the self-actualized ways, the ways that we all want to be treated. So there are just a few key areas of life, important questions to ask: money, finances, the health in the body, relationships, both internally and externally. And I can guarantee that if you put effort into these areas, you'll be lifted up. You yourself will be more happy. That's what it's about. So many of us just haven't mentally explored this, and we don't have a plan for ourselves to get to our ideal future. It's about just successfully navigating these aspects. Just asking these questions sometimes and seeing the answers will bring awareness, and that's the first step to start positive transformation. We don't have to be too attached to one result. It's more about the process of self-refinement. So by bringing your awareness to these and other key topics, you can identify what needs to be changed. And then you just put in that effort to steady improvement. Now remember, it's not about self-judgment. It's simply about being clear and understanding what battles you need to fight in this life. The battle is internal, right? So go out and fight this battle of life. This battle of being the best version of yourself. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But radical dynamic change overnight isn't always the path. Sometimes it's slow and steady daily progression. The true gains are small every day. Over a long period of time, you create a healthy relationship with yourself. Thank you so much for your support, and I invite you to continue to support this community by liking, commenting, and subscribing, because my mission is about spreading truth that people can connect with. It's for all people of all times. Some wisdom traditions are for some people, but I try to keep it free from any type of opinions and just be an accurate scribe in a way that people can connect with the truth. It's just for those people who want to grow, people who want to be real, people who want that happiness. Now, I know it's not for everyone, but I'm just sharing my unique message from my heart because I just want to give back. I've been blessed to be around wise people, to learn their secrets. And it's about giving back to the world in a way people can connect with, free from dogma. So thank you so much for your support.